Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm doing a different kind of video for you. I received a request from Funny O Mom. I'm going to put her channel name up here. She asked me to do a video kind of doing several different things, showing different techniques, different textures of eyeshadows and whatnot. So that's what this video is about. It's kind of like a verses and a blending technique, and there's quite a few things kind of wrapped up in this video. I do give my opinion on these Infallible tattoos. I talk quite a bit about these because this is, I said Infallible tattoo. The Loreal Infallible eyeshadows. I also use the color tattoos because she asked me to use these and talk about how I use them and what I think of the Infallible versus the color tattoo. And then she also asked that I kind of show how I blend. Yeah, she asked how I kind of blend out a smoky eye. So if you're interested in seeing, I mean, this is a tutorial also, but it's more of like it's a mishmash of a bunch of different things. So anyway, keep watching if you'd like to see the tutorial. I've already gone ahead and applied a BB cream, and I used this one from Too Faced. It's Cream Glow. I just got a sample from Sephora. I put that on my face, but I just basically just this area right here, and I went ahead and filled in my eyebrows. Now for today's look, I was asked, this was the request that was asked of me. I would like to see your rendition of the L'Oreal Infallible eyeshadows versus the Maybelline color tattoos. The different looks with them and what you find in comparison, good and bad. The Infallible eyeshadows and the color tattoos are two completely different types of textures. The color tattoos are a creamy texture, and the Infallibles are a powder. Now they are a bit on the creamy side, but they're a powder finish or a powder texture. And you pack them down. They come like this, and you take this off, and it's basically a powder. It's a very soft, and you can use this little cap to kind of push it down to pack it back together again if it gets a little too loose. So as far as like texture goes, I mean, they're two completely different things, so there's really no comparison. Okay, so what I decided to do, because I don't want that Infallible color to appear too white on my eyelid, I'm going to use this paint pot from MAC. It's called Nubile. This is what it looks like. Because I don't want that Infallible to appear too light on my eyelid. So what I'm going to do is put this on. I'm going to use my finger. Now when I apply with my finger versus a brush, it's usually when I'm using something like this, like a paint pot, and I'm trying to get it all over my lid. You know, when I'm not trying to be so precise, I will use my finger. If I'm wanting a more precise application of my base or eyeshadow, you know, I'll use a brush. And when I say eyeshadow, I mean like a cream eyeshadow. So there's that. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Now what I'm going to do is take the Too Cool, the white one here, and what I'm going to do is take a brush, and I'm just going to place that right in the inner corner, and I'm going to use a synthetic brush for that. Just going to put that right in here. The next color tattoo that we are going to use is this one here. It is Pomegranate Punk, and that's just going to go in the outer corner, and I'm just going to use that same synthetic brush. Just going to push that in right out here. I'm going to keep it relatively low on my lid. I'm not going to go up too far. Actually going to kind of drag this down at an angle on the lower lash line here. Okay, the color that we are going to start with is the Endless Pearl, and this is what it looks like. And I'm going to use it on this brush here. That is a MAC 239. Just going to push it in right on the lid. right at the inner corner and right over the nubile. Now the thing about the texture of this, the Infallible, is I like the texture, let me back out. I like the texture of these over, let's say, a paint pot, but once you put it over the top of a color tattoo, it kind of changes the texture of the eyeshadow. So you kind of have to work with it a little bit more. See, it's in here. Right here on my lid, you can see how smooth it is over the paint pot, but here in the inner corner, where I placed the color tattoo, you can see that it doesn't blend out as nicely. It's not as smooth. You see that? And my inner corner does appear to look crepey. So I'm not a big fan of the color tattoo with the Infallible eyeshadows. I think the Infallibles work better with a smoother base, like the paint pots from MAC. I'm going to take my 217 brush and just blend this line out. Try to soften this inner corner up a little bit more. Okay, so this is interesting, and this is what I just figured out. I put too much color tattoo in one spot on this side, and you see what happened to the eyeshadow in the inner corner. This side I smoothed it out a little bit better, and it doesn't look as like clumpy and crepey. So the trick, I guess, with these color tattoos is to make sure that you don't apply too much and you smooth it out before applying the Infallible over the top, because otherwise you're going to end up with what I ended up with on this eye. So maybe I can smooth it out here a little bit with my brush. Okay, the next Infallible color that we are going to use is this one here. It is called Smoldering Plum. This is what it looks like. It's a dark purple. It kind of reminds me of like Sketch or Beauty Marked from MAC. It's a very pretty color. I'm going to use a smaller brush to apply this because I want to really keep control over where this is going. So I'm going to use my Sonia Kashuk brush, and I'll zoom in here. Like I said, these eyeshadows are a bit soft, so when you go to apply them, be careful. I'm just going to push it right over the top, the base. Now what I would suggest is at first pushing it in and then blending. Now see, I got too much on my brush that time and it just falls right off of the brush. And because I really want to control the blending on this, I'm going to use this brush here. This is an Ulta crease brush, and what I'm going to do is just lightly start blending out this line here. See that? If you're not very good at blending, you might want to try using a smaller brush like this to really control the product. And then if you want, you can start to bring it up onto your brow bone, just slightly, or you can keep the color concentrated right on the lid like that. If your skin is real loose, you can pull on your lid just slightly to start blending when you start blending. Okay, now if you find that, let's say you have over blended and you end up with something like this and you've got one eye that looks like that, you can even them out, of course, just by adding a little bit more to the side that you've over blended, or to the side that's not over blended, I should say. Now if you don't like how, let's say, this side looks compared to this side, my only suggestion is to take it off and start over, because once you apply the dark and over blend, it's really hard to lighten that up. you'll end up looking, you'll end up having one side that appears a little muddy compared to the other. And then what you can do is just start blending up onto the brow bone. And this is how I blend, and I just keep doing this until I get it the way that I like it. And I will blend on my lid as well. And don't forget, if you overblend, you can use a Q-tip to kind of clean up certain areas. So if you blend up too far, you can use a Q-tip to clean up the area that you've overblended. And then if you need to darken it up any, you just add more color and then blend again. Okay, so I think I'm going to keep this to more of a daytime look as opposed to making it evening. She wasn't specific about anything like that, so I think I'm going to keep it more of a day look. So I'm going to use a baby wipe here and clean up underneath my eyes before I apply my concealer. Oh, and I did want to add a highlight color, so I'm going to go into my Lust palette here from Wet n Wild, and where's my brush? Just going to use this brush here, taking this lighter color up here at the top. Just going to press that in right underneath my eyebrow. This has a little bit of a glitter to it, which I don't mind every once in a while. I'm going to go ahead and curl my lashes. Now, I really do like the color tattoos. I think I have all of them now. Oh no, I am missing one. There's one that I don't have. I have the Bad to the Bronze, and there's another kind of bronze brown one that I don't have, which I'm sure I will be getting soon. I'm going to use this Avon 24 Karat Gold Mascara. Now, it's not gold. It is called Golden Black. And it is on this really slim brush, which is nice if you have short lashes. I like this formula. It's kind of dry. I do not like overly wet mascaras because they can be quite messy. I'm going to put some of this on my lower lashes as well. So the eyes are done. I think it's pretty, and it is a bit dark, but it's also wearable for daytime, you know, because I'm keeping color off of the waterline and I'm not applying any color to my lower lash line. You can very well wear something like this during the day. Now, this is what I do a lot, and this is what you guys don't see. That sometimes after I put my mascara on, or I will go back and I will blend out certain areas that I noticed maybe aren't blended so well. And a lot of times once I put the mascara on, I can really tell. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I can really tell certain areas if it's not even or if it's darker on one side. So then I will go back and blend some more. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put some concealer on. And I'm going to use my Vera Wang concealer. Someone asked me if I'm still using this, and yes I am. I just don't use it too much in videos because people like to see variety. So I try to use different concealers so that everyone can see different consistencies or textures, appearances, or just to perhaps get my opinion on something. But very rarely, I don't have anything in my makeup collection that I don't like. If I don't like something, I return it to the store. You know, I don't keep things that I don't like. You know, if somebody sends me a product and let's say, I mean as in a swap, because I've never had a company send me anything for review before, but if I get something in a swap and let's say it doesn't work too well on my skin, I will still try to use it or incorporate it in a video because, you know, at least I can show different products. And again, just because something doesn't work too well on me doesn't mean that it wouldn't work well on you. Another good way to kind of clean up if you have made a mistake with your eyeshadow is once you go in with your concealer and you are done concealing this area and you know that you're not going to go back in with the brush, you can take your brush and run it along the edges of your eyeshadow to kind of like correct any little mistakes. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and powder under my eyes here. And I really like using this Real Techniques setting brush. I used to use my little Sephora crease brush because that sucker is huge. But since I got this, I don't even use that anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and just lightly powder, kind of like my T-zone area. And I'm just using my Estee Lauder powder. Just a little bit of blush. This is my baked blush from Palladio, and it is called Wish on an angle brush here. And then for my lips, I'm just going to use this Bourjois 3D Effect lip gloss. It is called Rose Lyric. This is what it looks like. Okay, so basically that's it. If you want to throw some eyeliner on, you can. I think I'm going to use some of my MAC chromographic pencil on my waterline here. So I'm going to read through this to make sure that I answered all the questions. I did the L'Oreal eyeshadow versus the color tattoo. Okay, and then the finger and the brush. I use my finger if I'm not trying to go for a precise application. Now, if I'm using a color tattoo and I want it in a certain area, then I will use a brush. As far as like the Infallibles themselves, to be honest, I'm not crazy about these. The texture is kind of strange. I mean, it's a powder, but it's kind of creamy at the same time. These aren't the easiest, in my opinion, to blend out. I mean, they are very pigmented. I mean, I'm just barely touching it. You know, I'm just running my finger in it, and that's how much comes off. Now, they do crumble a bit, so when using them, I would definitely start out kind of light and build up a little. I wouldn't put a ton on the brush because then you're going to get a lot of fall down, and I would definitely recommend blending in between each application. I mean, I recommend that for any eyeshadow, but these especially. They do, you know, they do blend out nice, but it does, I kind of feel like you have to blend a little bit more with these. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really know how to offer an opinion on this because I don't want to bash it because I don't think it's a horrible eyeshadow, but I'm not overly impressed with it. So, if any of you have used them, you know, let me know what you think. I'm going to try these maybe in another video. I don't know when because, you know, I need to get caught up. I'm so far behind you guys, it's not even funny. I'm going to do like an update video to tell you guys what's been going on, but maybe I'll try these in another video with just using like a MAC paint pot, because paint pots, they're like a cream but then they turn to a powdery texture, so it may be a little bit easier to work with that as opposed to using the color tattoo. I did notice that when I put this over the nubile, it blended out a little bit nicer, it applied nicer. So I think that maybe, I think maybe using a base that is not as, let's say, wet as the color tattoos, or let's say using a base that starts out creamy but turns into a powder, I think would be better for these as opposed to using the color tattoos, because these don't turn into a powdery texture. They just stay creamy. So, but anyway, that's it. I'm all done. I hope you guys like this. And this was requested by, I'm gonna totally butcher her name, Funny-O Mom. But anyway, enough rambling. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being so patient, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.